Hello there, Lorcanna Lovelies. So this past week, Josh and I have started playtesting again, playtesting specifically like the competitive meta decks with set champs in mind so that we can both kind of do some testing with what other people are playing, get kind of the theories and stuff like that out there about what beats what, and kind of test all that stuff out so that we know when we sit down, we're kind of setting ourselves up to win the best, or at least kind of mentally win the best with being prepared. But we weren't being prepared with Be Prepared this week. We were playing Steel Song versus Discard. So typically, when I sit down and I know I'm playing against Discard, I lose before I even shuffle up. And one of the big reasons for that is I hate playing against Discard so much that I just get in my own head about it. So, trying to get out of my own head about it this week, Josh and I played, I think, like 10 games. And I played a bunch of games against like one of the AI bots online to try to get all of the discard hate out so that I could figure out if I can win, and if I can, how best to do it. So what I've got for you today is an analysis of the discard versus steal song list, and specifically, I'm going to be analyzing it from both sides. I'm going to be analyzing it as if you're playing discard or as if you're playing steal song, because in my opinion, one of the best ways to learn how to beat a deck is to learn what that deck wants to do. So, without further ado, here is my analysis of steal song versus discard. Okay, so we're gonna go straight into talk. I don't have any deck lists that I'm going to show today. The steel song that I'm talking about is the traditional steel song, not the aggro diggy diggy hole one. But we are going to be going through. I think other than me putting numbers out, I think we're going through 95% of the deck list, anyways. So let's start with steel song, and we're going to start with kind of the first part of the steel song name, which is the singers part of it. So this deck list plays like the full singers package. The only one that I really miss or like want is I do kind of want the new Aurora. Might be because she comes in enchanted. I do just love the idea of the healing and getting extra songs out of her. But I don't think she would have made a huge difference in this match. It's just my deep desire to play enchanted, and she comes in enchanted. But Naveen did come back in the list. Naveen has been out for the past couple of months, but he made it back in as a two of, I think. And the Aerial Sonic Warrior that I've always thought has a place is in this list as well as a two of. So let's go over the quick singers and kind of where and why you'd want them. So the first singer from the every single steel song list is the one drop Cindy. She can play your three drop songs, which are your two or like three or four removal damage spells, depending on if you're playing the Strength of Virgin Fire, or Let the Storm Rage On. She's an all star. She's awesome. Against discard, though, you don't necessarily want to play her turn one every game. We'll get into that later. But she is kind of like playing blind. She's the ideal start. Troubadour is also a great one. Troubadour has replaced Ursula Vanessa. That resist +1 just kind of gives him that extra sticking around power. Though the resist +1 on like a three body, and Ursula had like a four, you'd think that defense, you'd think that that kind of equals out because you need to do 4 damage to either of them to knock them out. The fact that the Troubadour needs to take 4 damage all at once, where Ursula Vanessa could take it's just accumulated. It does mean that Troubadour does stick around a little bit more, and I like it. I think it's pretty awesome. Ariel's spectacular singer. She's in this list. She does sometimes hit songs, but not for me a huge amount. I do like her, especially against discard. You really do not want to keep a lot of songs in your opening hand, which means that you need something to go and find you those songs. And Ariel is an all star at that. In theory. Prince Naveen is the next one. I've always liked Naveen. I've liked the idea of just playing him on turn four and getting the use out of him immediately. The fact that he does plays a song when he's played is awesome. So you can Whole New World on turn four, which you'd be doing anyways with Ariel. So if you Whole New World on turn four with Naveen, or if you have a damage spell in your hand with Naveen, you could play Naveen, damage something with that damage spell, and then Whole New World off of Ariel. And that feels pretty good to get a lot of value out of Naveen. The last kind of one that I have here now, she's not a singer, but she does get some song synergy, is the Aerial Sonic Warrior. She's not going to stick around. People hate her. They're going to take her out. She does take 8 damage to get rid of those, so they do have to put some effort into getting rid of her. But the fact that it is a whenever you play a song, pay 2, deal 3 damage to a chosen character does knock out a good amount of stuff on the discards side of things, even if they throw your math off by tossing a cove in there. This is kind of the package that I'm working with singers wise. Now let's look at what I have for songs. I got the full typical songs: Whole New World, Strength of Raging Fire, Let the Storm Rage On, and Along Came Zeus. And then we have The World's Greatest Criminal Mind in here. Initially, I thought it was mostly for like the red list to get rid of all of your various Mauis and whatnot. However, in discard, they do play the Big Pete Pirate, kind of the green steel Pete Pirate, and this does get rid of it. It's like the only thing that can get rid of it in this list. I was inking this card every single game, and as soon as Josh played the Pirate Pete, I kind of looked at it and thought, okay, I do need to hold on to one of those for whenever that guy comes out. So that's the gist with that. It's the typical song package there. And then let's go to the last part of the list here, which is my other category. So I got Rapunzel's, Robin Hood's, Daisy's, Shmi's, and then Pete. Pete is an all-star, but we'll get to him last. So Rapunzel is one of your other draw card strategies other than A Whole New World. She pairs great with cards like Robin Hood or Shmi, ones that, or even I guess Ariel Sonic Warrior, ones that can take a lot of damage and not necessarily get knocked out. And then you can get kind of a good amount of card draw with the healing from Rapunzel. Daisy and Shmi are your aggro strategies. So if you need to kind of get in there with your two Lure Questers and um, to be able to win the game, they do kind of make that a little bit on the easier side. Downside about Daisy is that the discard list does play a good amount of characters that you don't want them playing. So you might be feeding them characters. However, they do have a good amount of actions as well. So it's not like against aggro decks where you're definitely giving them a card. It's just you don't want to be giving discard more cards because they're going to get a lot of cards. Robin Hood's also a fighter. He gains you lore off of fighting, which is awesome. Chances are you're not going to be doing that extra card draw off of him when he gets banished, though, because against discard there is a lot of removal songs. And if your opponent knows what they're doing, they're going to chip damage Robin Hood with a character and then remove him with a song. Pete is the all-star of the deck, and he is going to be how you push yourself over that finishing line. The reason Pete is great is if you can unload a bunch of your hand and control their field enough, even if they start to come back in the end, you're looking at an intimidating looking board. Dropping Pete the turn before you go off and win kind of guarantees you the win there, because if you can keep enough characters upright or do the math so that they can't take out with what they have on the board character wise, they can't empty your field completely. Pete guarantees the win there because their only way of really clearing the field tends to be with songs. And so you're making them doing it with challenging, which means that you're going to take their characters out, or they're going to take their characters out too. So Pete, phenomenal. Don't play him on turn 3. Play him right before you're going to win when you do not want them playing any songs. So that is the gist, or I guess actually, the songs, yeah. The songs are the biggest deal there. So that is the gist with the Steel Song list. So we're going to go switch gears and we're going to play the enemy, so to speak, and we're going to talk about discard. So discard, as far as kind of its big players go, we have a bunch of cards that everyone's going to see and hate immediately. Or at least if you're like me, you can see and hate them immediately. Hidden Cove, great card. It throws off the Steel Song math. Doing 2 damage to a Diablo kills the Diablo, but you move that Diablo to the Cove, all of a sudden you have to do 3 damage to it, which typically takes 2 hits to do it. Ursula, the Deceiver Ursula, strips a song from your hand, and so that and as a discard player, you definitely want to be playing Ursula to be able to take those Steel Song cards. It makes your characters safer. Again, toss stuff at Cove makes them bigger, but Steel Song not having removal is great. However, I would say that removing A Whole New World from Steel Song is potentially the better one. It really depends on what's going on the board. But not letting Steel Song reset its hand and be able to unload with a whole bunch of removal songs really stops Steel Song. So Ursula Deceiver, awesome anytime you'd want a player to kind of get rid of those songs. The Muses is pretty good. There's only 2 of in the list that we were playing, but so much of Steel Song's characters are small. Now, I guess it's about 50-50, but there's a good amount of small characters that you can bounce with the Muses, and there is a lot of songs in this discard list to be able to get kind of a good use off of the Muses. The last one that I'm going to talk about right here is Ursula Deceiver of All. She is great with the double singing. She gets you a lot of value. She is going to get sniped and taken out. So if you can get one use out of her, awesome. If you can get more uses out of her, even better. She can be one of your finishing pieces there. That if Steel Song does not play the Pete before they win the game, she can do a lot of work by double singing and getting rid of their characters to help you stabilize to be able to win the game yourself. So just like Steel Song had songs, we have songs and a couple of actions in discard. We have your kind of damage package. So, your Let the Storm Rage On, Along Came Zeus's, Strength of Raging Fire. I don't think there's any Let the Storm Rage On in the list that Josh and I are playing, but I have seen it tossed in some other lists. The bigger ones that we're going to talk about that differ from the typical Steel Song list is we don't talk about Bruto, which is the song. So it bounces a character and then they have to discard a card at random. If you can bounce one of their characters when they have an empty hand, you're guaranteed to get them to discard that card that you just bounced. So it's pretty much a removal spell. Sudden Chill is also a discard one. Hypnotize is another action that is a discard one as well, and it draws you a card. So that's kind of the package there for actions that we have for discard. And my last other category here is kind of some good pieces that you might want to know about. Beast Tragic Hero. He either swings and hits for a lot, or he draws you a card. Hold on to him for the card draw because this deck does need card draw, and though it does have a lot of it, you do want some of your you don't want Steel Song playing a whole new world to reset you, so you need to be able to have those options in your hand. Prince John, Greatest of All, also card draw mixed with discard, and there's a good amount of discard on the list. Morph is awesome. Not only is he super adorable, but he also can be shifted onto for anything. So you can shift a beast on him, a Diablo on him, and he's gonna get hit as well. So he could just eat up a removal spell, which just means one less removal spell to hit your Diablos. Tinkerbell, she's only a one of, so she's a splash to kind of do the damage when she comes in and start to clean up as she challenges in. I can definitely see Tinkerbell doing some work against Steel Song, and I remove her as soon as I see her hit the board because that tossing 2 damage around really can clean up pretty quick. Last one, good finisher, just like it was with the last list, is Pete. If you can stop Steel Song towards the end or any kind of crucial turn, if you can stop them from whole new worlding or playing the Zeuses or whatnot, you can keep your board safe and you can kind of push yourself past them so you can get board control. So Pete, all-star in this deck as well. So now we're going to jump to how are we going to play this match? So we're going to go back to Steel Song. How does Steel Song want to play against discard? Well, the first thing that we want to know is, are we on the play or the draw? So if we are on the play, which means that we are the first player, a great turn 1 play is Cinderella. Keep a Strength of Raging Fire to be able to hit something on their side on turn 2. Hopefully a Diablo. Troubadour to be able to sing another song that comes out, and an Ariel to be able to dig you deeper for that song on turn 3. Now I will say, kind of looking at this here, you'll see I have one song in my hand. Try not to keep more than one song unless you plan on inking it turn 1 or turn 2, because if they play an Ursula, they're going to get that song from you. So you want to keep your hand as minimal as far as songs as possible, but keep one if you're on the play for that Diablo. If you're on the draw, how does it differ? Well, you'll see that it's a completely different hand that I've got here. Now, there's a couple of different things that we could do on the draw. If you have a Daisy, not too bad. She's going to quest for a bunch. She might feed your opponent some cards, but she's going to quest for a bunch and help push you a little bit forward in the game. And she's hard to remove. A 4 defense is pretty tough to remove. My ideal, in my mind, on the draw start is a Little Robin Hood and a Shmi. So the Little Robin Hood, don't do anything with him, don't quest, just sit him there. Because ideally you're turning him into Big Robin Hood on turn 3. He is Big Robin Hood is hard to remove, and him with Shmi do quest for a lot of lore. Big Robin Hood can clean up the board, can sing you pretty near, actually, he can sing you every single song in your list if you need to, and if you shifted him, you can sing those songs immediately on turn 3. Last thing I'd say is a Rapunzel or just an Ingable, but like a Rapunzel's not too bad in this case because if the Robin Hood and the Shmi are taking damage, she will get you some card draw without having to risk it being stripped from your hand from the Ursula. So this is what the endgame cards, in my opinion, look like for Steel Song. They're all steel. So endgame cards or things to know about. you don't want to be afraid to whole new world. Yes, you're going to reload your opponent, and reloading discard is always terrible, but you don't want to be afraid to do that because you need options and answers in your hand and on the board to be able to win. Steel Song can win and can win consistently against discard, but yeah, you can't be afraid to reset your opponent. Big Robin Hood's awesome. He cleans up a lot of the field. He attacks. He survives things. He can be Rapunzeled, and he gains you lore off of it, which is great. You want some removal stuff to be able to take out their things like their either their beasts or their Ursulas, especially towards the end game, because you don't want them hitting you back with that double singing Ursula. And the last finisher we've already talked about is Pete. Pete's great because he makes it so that they can't play the actions to stop you. Talking about discard now. So same type of a thing, but we're switching decks. What does a good turn one look like for discard? Well, turn one for discard. If we're on the play, we definitely want to be able to Diablo, look at our opponent's hand, see what they're working with. We would definitely want to be able to discard an action. So I've got the Bruno in here for the action slot to play the other Diablo and kind of keep that evasive, keep that safe. And then play an Ursula on turn two to get rid of your opponent's songs. Now, the ideal one we're getting rid of if we have had the start is anything that can kill Diablo so that we can get our card draw going and we can just be that annoying Diablo deck that's there and gain board control. You need cards to gain board control. What does it look like if we're on the draw? So slight different kind of thing that I've got here. Diablo is still great, but we do want a Hidden Cove to be able to throw off some of that math for Steel Song. 2 damage can hit and kill a Diablo with a Let the Storm Rage on, but it can't kill a Diablo if he's in the Cove. So turn 1 Cove, turn 2 Ursula, turn 3 Diablo, or Ursula is kind of what I'm seeing in my mind as at least after we played it, that seemed to be the slightly more ideal one if you could get it. And then the last thing I have is again our end game types of finishers. Muses we've already kind of talked about. Being able to bounce the small stuff back to your opponent's hands so that they can't quest with it towards the end is great. Double singing Ursula is awesome with like Strength of Raging Fire or whatnot to be able to hit multiple targets in a turn. And again, Pete finisher, same reason, talked about this probably 4 times by now. He stops your opponent from being able to play their removal spells, which means that you can cross that finish line, hopefully, before they do. So that is the gist with Steel Song versus Discard. So we played 10 games, and Steel Song won 7 of the 10 games, and Discard won 3. It did come down a lot to who had the better setup and who was able to gain board control the quickest. So just because you sit down and see Discard, it doesn't mean that you're going to lose. You do need to approach every kind of match with the positive energy of, no, I can do this, I can win, because you don't want your attitude to be kind of what gets you down. So Discard, totally a winnable match for Steel Song. However, it is also a very winnable match for Discard. So hopefully some of these tips will either help you beat the enemy deck, whichever one that happens to be, or figure out how to play the deck that you are playing a little bit better. Good luck in set champs, and I think we're gonna be doing maybe the Maui deck next. Maui deck's awful for Steel Song, so Maui deck is what we're gonna be doing next.